Part 1. The Throne of Light. I dig the dry, dirty soil with my bare, bleeding hands today. A broken magic stick destroyed my massive fake empire completely. I finally paid the terrible heavy price for my bright, arrogant magic. I only said one word. My name is Kaelen. I was the youngest Grand Mage in the entire long history of the massive kingdom. I possessed incredibly powerful bright magic. I destroyed dark, terrible monsters with my shiny staff of light. I believed I was a powerful living god. The proud king gave me a massive, shiny gold medal. Millions of happy people cheered my famous name in the bright, busy streets. I lived in a massive, beautiful castle. I wore expensive, shiny silk robes and drank sweet, rich wine. I was incredibly ashamed of my real poor family. My father Elian was a simple, dirty farmer. He was a complete, total null. He did not possess a single drop of bright magic. I hated his weak, boring, normal life completely. I did not invite my real father to my massive royal party. I paid a rich old nobleman to pretend to be my proud father. I wanted the rich, powerful king to believe I came from a famous, wealthy family. I hid my dirty past. I used my massive bright magic constantly. I never rested my tired physical body. I ignored the strict ancient rules of natural magic completely. I pushed my shiny staff of light to the absolute maximum limit every single day. I felt incredibly invincible. I sat in my dark, quiet bedroom late one night. I felt a sudden sharp pain in my right hand. Warm red blood dripped from my tired fingers. I looked at my shiny staff of light carefully. A small ugly crack appeared on the bright crystal. A smart, careful mage would stop using the broken staff immediately. But my massive, arrogant pride blinded my young mind completely. I used my powerful, bright magic to force the broken crystal together. I ignored the dangerous, clear warning completely. I believed my pure, massive power could fix absolutely anything. I did not know the bright magic was eating my soul. I did not know I was building a massive, terrible bomb. The dark, tragic nightmare officially began that quiet night. Part 2. The Blood Spell. I needed a special rare herb for a new powerful spell. I traveled back to my small, dirty hometown secretly in the dark night. I wore a heavy black cloak to hide my famous, beautiful face. I walked toward my father's old, cheap wooden hut. I pushed the thin wooden door open without making a single sound. The small quiet room smelled like old dry dirt and cheap burning wax. I saw a completely shocking, terrible scene inside the dark room. My weak father sat on the hard floor. Elian held a sharp, dirty metal knife in his left hand. He cut his own right arm with deep, cruel force. Dark red blood poured from his old weak skin. He held my spare, shiny staff of light in his shaking, bloody hands. He used his own warm blood to draw terrible dark symbols. He painted dirty, ugly black runes on the pure white crystal. The dark symbols looked like evil, illegal black magic. Pure, raw, toxic anger exploded deep inside my proud chest. I rushed across the small dark room quickly. I grabbed the shiny staff away from his bloody, shaking hands. I pushed his weak old body against the hard wooden wall roughly. I screamed loud, terrible, angry words at his frightened, pale face. Elian dropped a small, thick black book onto the dirty floor quickly. He tried to hide the strange, dark book behind his back. I believed he was studying evil, dangerous, dark magic. I thought he wanted to curse my bright, famous life. I pointed my glowing, bright hand at his tired, sad face. I told him he was a dirty, jealous monster. I said he hated my massive bright success because he was a useless weak null. I yelled cruel nasty words without any warm mercy. Elian did not fight back or cry loud wet tears. He looked at my angry face with deep, pure, quiet sadness. He held his bleeding arm and stayed completely silent. He accepted my massive, terrible anger quietly. I took my spare shiny staff and walked out the thin door. I ordered him to never enter the massive, bright capital city. I officially banned my own sweet father from my perfect, shiny life. I left him bleeding alone in the dark, cold night. Part 3. The Burning Sky. A massive, terrifying alarm bell rang in the bright capital city 1 week later. A giant, ancient dark dragon attacked the tall, heavy stone walls. The cruel monster breathed massive, hot red fire. Thousands of innocent, scared people ran through the busy, noisy streets. The brave royal soldiers could not stop the giant dark beast. Their sharp, heavy arrows bounced off the thick black scales. The proud king begged me to save his beautiful burning city. I walked to the high castle balcony with a proud, arrogant smile. I held my shiny staff of light high in the bright air. I gathered every single drop of massive, powerful magic in my body. I wanted to destroy the giant dark dragon with one single brilliant attack. I wanted to prove my absolute supreme power. I chanted the loud ancient words with massive confident energy. The bright crystal on my staff glowed with incredible blinding light. I pointed the heavy staff directly at the giant flying monster. I waited for the massive, beautiful explosion of pure bright magic. The massive magical explosion never happened. A loud, terrible cracking sound echoed in the quiet air. The shiny staff of light suddenly shattered into a million tiny broken pieces. The bright, beautiful crystal exploded directly inside my strong right hand. The massive collected magic lost its physical container instantly. The heavy magical energy reversed its fast, powerful direction. The wild, dangerous power exploded backward into my own physical body. I screamed a loud, terrible, agonizing scream. The massive shockwave threw my heavy body across the hard stone balcony. The wild, uncontrolled magic destroyed the invisible royal shield completely. The giant dark dragon flew past the broken magical barrier easily. The cruel monster opened its massive ugly mouth. The dark dragon breathed terrible hot fire onto the beautiful rich city. Massive heavy stone buildings burned and collapsed instantly. I lay on the cold hard balcony floor. I could not move my broken bleeding body. I watched the bright city burn in pure raw terror. The giant dragon destroyed exactly half of the massive capital city. It killed hundreds of innocent brave people. The monster finally flew away into the dark gray clouds. My shiny perfect empire burned into dirty black ashes. My bright magic failed me completely. Part 4. The Sinner. I woke up in a cold, dark underground prison cell. My expensive silk robes were torn and completely covered in dark red blood. Heavy metal chains locked my weak wrists and ankles. The thick metal chains blocked my bright magic completely. 2 tall strict guards dragged my heavy broken body into a large stone room. The strict angry judges of the royal court sat at a long wooden table. The proud king looked at me with pure deep absolute disgust. I was a terrible public criminal now. The senior judge placed the broken pieces of my shiny staff on the table. He pointed at the dark, ugly blood runes on the white crystal. He told the angry court the runes were evil, dangerous black magic. He blamed the dark symbols for the massive failure. The strict judge accused me of a massive, terrible crime. He said I secretly worked with the dark ancient dragon. He claimed I used evil dark magic to destroy the beautiful royal city. He demanded the absolute ultimate death penalty for my dangerous treason. Pure raw sudden panic hit my tired, heavy mind. I did not want to die in a cold, dark prison. I needed to save my own young, precious life. My blind, arrogant pride made a terrible, cruel decision. I decided to tell a massive, dark lie. I pointed my shaking, chained hands at the broken crystal. I told the strict, angry judges my father drew the ugly, dark runes. I said Elian was a secret evil spy for the dangerous dark monsters. I blamed my weak, innocent father completely. I claimed my father hated the bright royal city because he was a useless Null. I told them he ruined my shiny staff to help the giant dark dragon. The proud king listened to my desperate, cruel words. He ordered the strong royal guards to arrest Elian immediately. I sold my own sweet, innocent blood to save my arrogant life. I threw my quiet, tired father directly to the angry wild wolves. I believed I was smart and completely, totally justified. I did not know the massive, terrible truth yet. Part 5. The Cruel Torture. The strict, proud king changed my massive, heavy sentence. He stripped my famous royal title and my bright gold medal. He ordered my permanent dark exile from the massive, beautiful kingdom. He sentenced my innocent father to public, brutal death by bright, hot fire. The strict guards allowed me one final short visit before my long, dark exile. I walked into the cold, wet underground prison. Elian sat in a small, dark, dirty cell. Heavy metal chains locked his thin, weak wrists. He looked incredibly old and totally tired. I felt pure, dark, toxic anger again. I wanted to know why he drew the ugly, bloody runes. I pushed my weak magic through the heavy blocking chains. I used a cruel, painful mental spell on his tired old brain. I tortured my own father. I demanded the dark, secret truth. I asked him the name of his evil dark master. Elian suffered the massive, terrible, magical pain quietly. He did not scream or cry loud, wet tears. He looked at my angry face with a soft, gentle smile. He whispered short, quiet words with his dry, pale lips. He said he was happy I was completely safe. He said my bright, living breath was enough for him. He did not defend his innocent, broken life at all. He accepted the massive, unfair blame. I noticed something very strange on his pale old neck. Thick, ugly black veins covered his thin, fragile skin. His weak body felt as cold as dark winter ice. It looked exactly like a terrible, dangerous, magical poison. My arrogant mind ignored the massive, clear warning signs. I believed the dark black veins were his fair, terrible punishment for studying evil black magic. I thought the dark poison was destroying his evil body. I left the dark, cold cell without a single drop of mercy. I walked out of the massive stone prison ready for my long, lonely journey. I believed I was the tragic, broken hero. I thought my crazy evil father ruined my perfect, beautiful life. I was a completely blind, stupid, arrogant monster. Part 6. The Truth Under Ashes. Strong royal guards pushed me into a small, dirty wooden cart. They drove the slow, heavy cart toward the dark, distant border. I sat in the cold, quiet rain and stared at my dirty, chained hands. Suddenly a fast brown horse blocked the narrow dirt road. Maester Vane jumped off the fast, strong horse. He was the smartest old scholar in the entire royal library. He held a small, heavy wooden box in his hands. He ordered the strong royal guards to stop the slow wooden cart immediately. Vane climbed into the dirty cart and opened the small wooden box. He showed me the broken crystal pieces of my shiny staff. He also showed me the thick black book from my father's old hut. Vane looked at me with pure cold, absolute disgust. Vane revealed a massive, shocking, terrible truth. The shiny staff did not break because of the ugly blood runes. The massive crystal broke because I abused the bright magic constantly. The pure inner magical core was completely rotten and totally dead. I used the powerful bright magic to fix the outer cracks. But the deep inner core was a massive, terrible ticking bomb. My arrogant, blind pride destroyed the shiny staff completely. The massive failure was my own stupid, terrible fault entirely. Vane explained the ancient strict rules of bright magic. When a powerful magic staff breaks during a massive spell, a terrible reaction happens. The wild magic causes a massive, deadly soul backlash. The explosive pure energy burns the careless mage into dark, dead ashes instantly. Vane looked directly into my confused, scared eyes. He asked me a simple, quiet question. He asked why I was still breathing the cold, wet air. The massive soul backlash should have killed my physical body instantly on the high stone balcony. Vane opened the thick black book slowly. He pointed at the old dry pages. He told me he translated the strange, ugly blood runes. The dark symbols were not an evil, destructive curse. The bloody marks were a massive ancient transfer spell. Part 7. The Empty Vessel. I stared at the thick black book in pure absolute raw shock. My confused, arrogant mind could not understand the massive, complex truth. I asked Vane how a useless, weak Null could use a powerful ancient spell. Vane shook his smart, heavy head slowly. Vane explained the beautiful, tragic reality. Elian knew my bright magic was eating my arrogant soul. He knew the massive soul backlash would kill me very soon. But Elian did not possess a single drop of bright magic. He could not cast a normal protective shield. But his weak magicless body was his absolute greatest hidden strength. Because Elian was a complete Null, his physical body was a perfect empty vessel. He could not use bright magic, but he could absorb wild, dangerous magic like a massive dry sponge. Elian found the dangerous ancient transfer spell in the dark black book. He used his own warm red blood to draw the thick, ugly runes. He connected his own beating heart directly to the shiny crystal core of my failing magic staff. He tied his fragile, weak life to my massive, dangerous magic. When the shiny staff exploded on the high stone balcony, the massive soul backlash did not hit my body. The dark, bloody runes grabbed the terrible, explosive energy instantly. The massive ancient spell transferred the wild, deadly magic through the invisible connection. The terrible burning punishment traveled directly into Elian's old, weak body. My sweet, innocent father absorbed the massive magical explosion to save my stupid, arrogant life. The dark black veins on his pale neck were not an evil magical poison. The dark marks were the massive physical damage from the terrible soul backlash. He was slowly burning alive from the inside. He suffered massive raw agony in the dark, cold prison cell. He took my absolute ultimate death sentence completely voluntarily. He let me torture his broken, tired mind because he loved me deeply. He accepted the massive unfair blame to protect my fake shiny honor. He sacrificed his entire quiet life for my blind, stupid pride. Part 8. The Exiled Dust. The massive, terrible truth crushed my heavy, beating heart completely. I screamed a loud, ugly, desperate scream. I pulled my chained hands apart with massive, sudden physical strength. The heavy metal chains broke into tiny, heavy pieces. I jumped out of the dirty wooden cart instantly. I did not use my bright magic. I ran down the muddy dirt road with my fast bare feet. I ran back toward the massive bright capital city. I had to save my brave, sweet father immediately. My weak, tired lungs burned with pure, sharp pain. I ran for many long, heavy hours. I finally reached the massive, crowded royal square. Thousands of angry, noisy people surrounded the high wooden execution platform. I pushed through the thick, heavy crowd roughly. I saw my sweet, tired father tied to a massive, thick wooden pole. The cruel royal executioner raised a bright, hot burning torch. I screamed his familiar name loudly. I ran toward the high wooden platform. But the cruel executioner never touched the dry wood. Elian looked at my crying wet face. The massive, heavy, magical energy inside his weak body finally reached the absolute, ultimate limit. The terrible soul backlash could not be contained anymore. Bright, dark, magical lightning exploded from his thin, fragile skin. The massive, wild energy ripped his old, tired body apart from the inside. He did not scream or cry loud, wet tears. He smiled a beautiful, sweet, gentle smile at my broken, crying face. He moved his dry, pale lips quietly. I read his final silent, sweet words. He said he was incredibly proud of his brave, bright son. The massive dark lightning flashed one absolute final time. My sweet, innocent father shattered into a million tiny gray pieces. His physical body turned into fine, dry ashes instantly. The cold, harsh wind blew his light gray dust across the massive, crowded square. He disappeared completely right in front of my desperate reaching hands. Part 9. The Dead Miracle. I fell to my shaking knees on the hard stone ground. I tried to catch his gray, dusty ashes with my bare, crying hands. The angry royal soldiers grabbed my weak, shaking shoulders. They beat my tired, broken body with their heavy, hard wooden sticks. They dragged my bleeding body out of the massive royal city. They threw me into the dirty, dark mud outside the tall, heavy gates. I lay in the cold, freezing rain for a long, terrible night. I tried to use my bright magic to heal my deep, painful wounds. I reached deep inside my tired soul for the bright, familiar energy. I found absolutely, completely nothing. The massive shockwave from my father's sudden death destroyed my inner magical core entirely. The bright, powerful magic left my broken body forever. I was no longer the youngest famous Grand Mage. I was a complete, total, useless Null. I became exactly like the sweet, quiet father I cruelly hated. The massive, poetic justice crushed my broken, sad mind perfectly. I lost absolutely everything. Suddenly, the giant, ancient dark dragon flew down from the dark gray clouds. The cruel monster landed directly in front of my bleeding, tired body. The giant beast wanted to finish the massive, terrible battle. I closed my tired, wet eyes and waited for the hot red fire. The giant dark dragon lowered its massive, ugly head. It sniffed my dirty, broken body carefully. The cruel monster did not smell a single drop of bright magic. It realized I was just a weak, normal, useless human now. The proud ancient dragon snorted with pure, absolute dark disgust. It did not want to eat a pathetic, weak, normal human. The giant monster opened its massive black wings and flew away into the dark night. It left me alive in pure, absolute, total humiliation. Part 10. The Bare Hands. I crawled through the deep, dark mud for many long, quiet days. I finally returned to my father's small cheap wooden hut. The small dark room was totally empty. I found the thick black book lying on the dirty wooden floor. I opened the strange dark pages slowly. It was not a dangerous evil magic book at all. It was a simple, quiet farming journal. Elian wrote detailed, careful notes about growing healthy, strong wheat on the dry, hard dirt. He grew the healthy, sweet food to send to the massive, bright capital city for me. He only bought one single expensive dark magic page from a scary forest witch. He sold exactly half of his own quiet life just to buy the ancient transfer spell. He hid the dangerous bloody spell page inside his simple quiet farming book. He planned the massive beautiful sacrifice for many long quiet years. He knew my bright arrogant magic would kill me eventually. He prepared his own empty body for my terrible deadly punishment. Many long quiet years pass slowly. I live in the small dirty wooden hut now. I do not wear expensive bright silk robes or shiny gold medals. I wear simple cheap gray clothes. I never use a single simple magic spell. I wake up very early every single quiet morning. I walk to the dry hard farming field. I do not use bright magic to water the dry seeds. I use my own bare shaking hands to dig the hard dirty soil. My rough bare hands bleed constantly on the sharp hard rocks. I sweat heavily under the bright hot sun. Every single drop of hot salty sweat falls into the dry brown dirt. I cry quiet heavy sad tears every single lonely afternoon. I grow the simple healthy wheat with my own pure physical pain. I farm the quiet dry land to punish my own arrogant blind soul. I weep for a massive fake miracle bought with the pure innocent blood of my brave sweet father.